It's, of course, orbiting among the stars, but its earnings report wasn't exactly out of this world. I was just looking at it this morning, and its fourth quarter roughly in line with the analyst estimates, posting 48 cents a share, revenue $2.9 billion. Now, its arch enemy in this space, DirecTV, recently saw an uptick in earnings of nearly 7%, but the fight between these two companies extends well beyond the dishes that might be on your roof. Recently, the Dish parent EchoStar and DirecTV's owner, Liberty Media, duked it out over that large stake in Sirius XM satellite radio. It's become quite the blood feud, you might say, and why DirecTV and Dish are certainly one of America's greatest business rivals. The DirecTV-Dish Network rivalry today is nothing short of a knockdown heavyweight brawl. It pits two media moguls, Charles Ergen and John Malone, head-to-head in the quest for control over the ever-growing world of space-based entertainment. Hughes Electronics launched the satellite DirecTV-1 in 1993 and founded the DirecTV company the following year. In 1995, Ergen's EchoStar Communications launched its first satellite, EchoStar 1, and established the Dish Network brand name to accompany it. From the beginning, DirecTV was positioned as a premium satellite programming provider, while Dish's focus was on low-cost programming. The two quickly came to dominate the space. DirecTV purchased competitors USSB in 1998 and Primestar a year later. Then in 2002, EchoStar's proposed takeover of Hughes was blocked for fear of monopolistic abuse. Now, DirecTV's controlling interest was sold to Malone's Liberty Media in 2006. Since then, Malone and Ergen have gone toe-to-toe over everything from HD channels to program offerings to, most recently, strategic orbital positioning, leading to a mutual interest in Sirius XM. So what's the financial health of these fierce rivals? Well, on December 23rd of 2003, 1,000 shares of DirecTV would have brought home $16,900. On February 25th of 2009, 1,000 shares netted $21,390, a 39% increase. And Dish, well, 1,000 shares on that same date in 2003 would have resulted in $34,010. And now, well, it's only $11,280. All right, now for more on this rivalry between DirecTV and Dish Network, we send it back down to Alexis.
All right, thanks so much, Connell. Well, Stephen Keating is author of Cutthroat, High Stakes, and Killer Moves on the Electronic Frontier and a former business editor of the Denver Post. And Tuna Amobi is a senior media and entertainment analyst for Standard & Poor's Equity Research Services, or I should say S&P. Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks so much for being here. Tuna, let me start with you. Connell talked briefly in that piece about the rivalry, but I imagine part of what makes this one such a dynamic one is the characters behind these two companies. Tell me about them.
Sure, Alexis. I think the characters obviously are the big part of the dynamics here. But I think as you look at the two companies in question, I think they couldn't really be more different in terms of contrast. Whether on a subscriber growth basis or a competitive strategy or any number of other criteria that we look at companies here. We have a buy recommendation on DirecTV and a strong sell on Dish Network, precisely for some of the reasons that were alluded to. You just saw the numbers. Dish Network this morning reporting 102,000 subscriber losses for the fourth quarter, accelerating for the last 3 quarters, consecutive losses. In contrast, DirecTV added 860,000 subscribers for the year, 300,000 for the fourth quarter alone, which was the best in the last 3 years in this environment. So that suggests to us that DirecTV is gaining share from cable operators while Dish Network is losing. If you look at other criteria such as balance sheet and liquidity, DirecTV has about $2 billion in cash. Obviously, cash is king in this kind of market. EchoStar is facing possibly high investments. Dish Network, on its 700 megahertz spectrum that it just acquired. And there's a whole lot of other, overhangs, for Dish, such as the looming litigation against TiVo, which is going on in Court of Appeals as we speak here. So overall, I think that, the street is just getting around to recognizing that these two companies, which have up till now been valued pretty closely, I think there seems to be a divergence in terms of the business model.
All right, so Stephen, it's interesting. There's been a great deal of speculation for years that perhaps these two companies would merge. but they're definitely trying to send, I wouldn't say different signals, but they're going in quasi-different directions. DirecTV, greater international operations, a Dish doing the Sling box. Clearly, Charles Ergen cares a lot about mobile devices. Walk me through the different strategies and whether or not, at the end of the day, they wind up as partners.
Well, they're partners on certain issues like retransmission consent of broadcast signals. I mean, that's going on in Washington right now. But what's fascinating about these two moguls is just their different paths and how they got there. I mean, Malone came out of a cable background, and when Ergen launched EchoStar, at the time DirecTV was owned by General Motors, a division, Ergen used to say, "I'm fighting General Motors and General Malone." And Malone's company, Liberty Media, is a portfolio company. I mean, it invests in any number of media companies, including this stake they're taking in Sirius. They're not really, at this point, looking to take it over. Whereas Ergen was more likely, I think, to run it would run it as an operating entity. And so those strategies where EchoStar is kind of a pure play and DirecTV's owner, Liberty Media, is a portfolio company, I think shows some of the divergence in strategy, and it shows you where they are today.
All right, well, Stephen and Tuna, gentlemen, thank you very much for talking about it. I'm sure we'll be talking about this rivalry for years to come. All right, thanks so much, guys.